Good evening and welcome to night 8 of Chris and Ralph Halloween recommendations. I hope you've had a spooky and wonderful weekend. I know I did. I spent this weekend watching horror films as well as hanging up more decorations for our home. Maybe I'll do a video on those and show those off. We shall see. I want to add some more. Today I actually went to Spirit Halloween. That was super fun. I have ideas for my Halloween costume. You'll see it soon. So, for tonight's recommendation, we are going way, way, way back, all the way back to the 1930s. If you know anything about me, you know that I absolutely love the Universal monsters. And that tonight is going to be Frankenstein.
When this dead hand moves, the monster created by a man they called Mad is turned loose to strike terror into the hearts of men.
Frankenstein, oh, it is the second of the Universal Monsters movies that they've done. It after Dracula in 1931 in February, they did this one in November. So, I just want to say this movie it holds up. It definitely does. There's a reason why it's considered a classic. Is because it has this feeling of uneasiness of Frankenstein's monster, and it just launched this whole genre of monster movies. Dracula came first, but this one was the one that really put you on. It put that genre on the map of the hideous monster, but who it can be seen as innocent, but really isn't at times. So, of course, as always, this is zero spoilers. This is a horror slash sci-fi movie. It's only an hour and 11 minutes, so very short. It stars Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster, Colin Clive as Victor Frankenstein, and Mae Clark as Elizabeth Lavenenza. We see Victor Frankenstein, who is the creator of this monster. That is what usually a lot of people think that the monster, his name is Frankenstein. No, Victor Frankenstein, the scientist, he's the real monster. If you know, you know. He's this mad scientist who's on a quest to be God. He wants to create his own living being with human body parts from those who have since passed. But he makes a fatal error. He uses the brain of a criminal, and that is the monster that we see on screen. What this movie does is it inserts the mad scientist's take on how when science and the god mentality mix together, you have this monstrosity of the monster. The monster, played by Boris Karloff, I think he's a character that you could really sympathize for. And he has like this innocence, but this bumbling innocence, but he's 8 foot tall. He's 8 feet tall, and he doesn't know essentially what's right from wrong, and he kills. This movie really puts um, the character type of the innocent giant who's misunderstood. It really does that for this film. I think what you'll get out of it is a story, and it's a story as told as old as time, right? Yeah, of mob mentality, how a town can be so petrified, and how they will go at any means to hunt down what is haunting them. And that is essentially the premise of our story, is that we have Victor Frankenstein with this mad scientist who doesn't understand when to stop. He doesn't understand when to stop pushing the envelope. And he pushes it so far where innocent people lose their lives. And he is so full of himself, he doesn't even recognize what he's done is wrong. We meet Elizabeth, who is Victor Frankenstein's fiance, and her part in this movie is to essentially play the character to try to bring Victor back to humanity, and as well to at times play the damsel in distress, Um, it's kind of like the idea of King Kong. Frankenstein can be seen as King Kong. Frankenstein, oh, excuse me, the monster. See, I did it myself. I did it myself. What overall, I think this movie, what it does well is the mad scientist. It does that. It shows that science is wonderful, but there are individuals who can push it to a degree of inhumane, and that's essentially what Victor Frankenstein. That's what he does. And the monster that we meet, he is just a victim himself. And as I'm watching it, and when you see close-up shots of the monster, I had this idea like, what if I woke up, but my arm was from a person that I never met? My other arm is from someone who died in a car accident. My leg is from a school teacher who died of a heart attack. My face, it's of a carpenter who had an accident on the job, or whoever. Like, it's just kind of like this screwed up feeling of you're just a mashup of human beings who have passed, and that's really screwed up when you think about it. So this movie, it is a classic, 1931. It's approaching 100 years, and I think it just holds up. It really does. It's black and white, of course. So um, just go into it just thinking like, man, this is a classic, and just try to have a good time. I think this movie, it does what it does best, and that is pushing the envelope for the horror genre at that time in 1931. So that is night 8 of our Halloween recommendations. We're going into the second week we are of a bunch of movies that I am beyond excited to talk about. We have some slashers from the 80s as well as some psychological thrillers from the past 10 years. So please check out those videos this week. I really do hope you enjoy them. And if you've seen any of the recommendations that we recommended this past week, comment down below what you thought of them. I really like to hear your thoughts. But guys, that is it for night 8. As always, I'm Chris. Until next time, happy Halloween.